Welcome to pattern making class. This is Annette Julie, and we're working on our lapel and our facing design for our notch collar. So we just added our 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch on the shoulder and 1/4 inch in the neckline, 1/4 inch down the center front. And this is our center front of our jacket. Here is our hemline, and the other pattern pieces we added 1.5 inches for the hem. But because we're going to put a facing on this front piece, you do not need 1.5 inches for the hem. You can choose between 1/4 and 1/2 inch for this bottom hem. So now here is our front, and now we're going to make the facing. Grab another piece of paper. Go ahead and draw lines. Grain line all the way up and down the front. And now we're going to take your center front piece and we're going to line up the grain line to match the piece underneath. We're lining up our grain line. Looks good. Once that grain line is lined up and your pattern piece is smooth, go ahead and trace off the whole outside edge of the lapel. Here's our neckline. Let's trace off your shoulder. Trace off your princess seam. And the hem. And we've got your center front. And like I was saying in the last video, you can go ahead and mark that break point, but don't put scissors on that later on. Go ahead and transfer your notches. And I'm not going to transfer these notches, I'm going to make them different because this facing that I'm making is going to go into a lining. And this is going to have all of our seam allowance already in it. So show yourself whatever seam allowance you have. 1/2 inch at the bottom, 1/4 inch in the front. I have 1/2 inch on the princess seams. I have all my seam allowance also in the shoulder seam, in the princess seams too. All the seam allowances here. So now to make this into a facing, this is going to be our facing. We're going to call this our jacket. Front, neck, facing. This is going to be a cut to self. And this is also going to be a cut to interfacing. You have your name and the date. And now we're going to start here at our break point at 0 and go to our lapel point at 0 and back to our notch at 0, and we're going to bring this out 0 to about 1/8 of an inch. It's going to run parallel and blend back to 0, and then also here out about 1/8 of an inch and blend back to 0. Give ourselves a couple little guidelines. We're going to flip it. We've gone out that 1/8 of an inch to make this our facing that rolls over. And we've gone out here 1/8 of an inch. And that is our front neck facing for our lapel of the front of our jacket. Little notches. This is Annette Jolie. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Au revoir.